year I thought about how things can come around just like that if everyone is here to celebrate one day. We have our ups and downs, but when there's love there's always a way. And oh, this time of year we come together to celebrate. Yes, every time the snow is falling down and it is cold outside, we gather around the fireplace and no one cares about yesterday. My favorite holiday, it means so much more than words can say. And I claim that Christmas is a magic day. Sometimes I tend to forget what glory this holiday represents, but it's fair to say that Christmas.
Hi everyone! Today we're doing something different. Today it's December 30th, and I always think of that as this little pocket of time between ho 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 and what day is it, where we're kind of running on half-charged batteries. In this video, I would like to talk about what I do and how I spend my time during these couple of days that fall in between Christmas and New Year's that sometimes seem to be this no man's land during the holiday season. I have to say though that it is also probably one of my favorite days of the Christmas season or the whole holiday season period, because it allows me to sit peacefully and reflect back on the year that's happened, and also maybe think about the year that's coming up without necessarily making huge resolutions or concrete plans, because I tend to save that for the first week of January. This is a moment to just check in with myself, and I thought that in this video I could talk about how I do that and what my after Christmas day week looks like. If you're new, my name is Raina and this is Small Retired Life, and on my channel I talk about all things retirement and living a wonderful life in our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s and beyond. If you are new, then welcome here. Essentially for me, this time of the season is really about reflecting on anything that's happened in the past year, so that I can go and greet the new year with some excitement and some clarity. This is my version of homework, because I don't have homework since I'm retired. So I impose a little bit of year-end homework on myself, and this is what it looks like. When you're retired, the end of the year reflections look different. When we were working, it was all about perhaps what we accomplished at work. Did we meet some quarterly sales goals? Did we have a great performance review? Are we getting a raise? How do we feel about our job? There's all of these external things. But in retirement, at least in my retirement, some of these reflections look a little bit different. For me, it's more about, did this year feel good? Did I grow? Were the days mine to be lived in my own way? Did I become more like myself or the me that I want to be? Or am I losing myself somewhere along the way? Those are the kinds of things that I tend to think about at the end of the year. And I have those kind of 4 items in a journal, and they're my yearly questions to answer, even though I'm retired. In retirement, the end of the year doesn't have the same markers that we used to have in the past. And as a matter of fact, the difference is that we actually create our own markers. We're the ones who decide if our year was a success or if it wasn't. For some of us, this maybe was a year of change. For others, maybe it was a very predictable year in the best kind of ways. And I think for all of us, or most of us actually, maybe it was a mix. It was a mix of joys and sorrow and boredom and happiness and, oh well, I guess tomorrow still will come kind of feeling. It doesn't matter where you're at. This is the great part of retirement. You do not need to be judgmental about your year and what you accomplished. The idea is to look back so that you can look ahead. All right, let's tackle the gentle art of looking back. In retirement, reflection shouldn't be about, did I accomplish enough this past year? If anything, I think it's worthwhile making the question, is there anything that this year has taught me? Is there anything that was profoundly new during this past year that has really hit a spot and has really resonated with me? Something that truly has enriched my life over the years and will continue to do so for many years to come is all of my making and crafting. As you know, I love knitting and I love sewing, and there's new things that I want to learn. As such, I'm thrilled to partner up once again with Craftsy on this video. Craftsy is an online community of creatives and like-minded makers where members can find endless inspiration, improve their skills, and discover some new favorite hobbies. For myself this year, I want to learn more about crochet. I used to crochet all the time, but I've kind of lost the skill set, and I'm left-handed, so that makes crochet hard. I'm going to be depending on some excellent classes that are offered through Craftsy to help me ease back into it. At Craftsy, you learn directly from the experts with step-by-step instructions in how to create the project of your choice. Craftsy continually keeps developing new material and new classes to keep you coming back for more. And let me just say, there is nothing more satisfying than watching a project come to life. The first 1,000 people who watch this video and click on my special link in the description box below the video will receive 1 full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. This offer is valid for new members only. So head on over to Craftsy and start making. Thank you, Craftsy, for partnering up on this video. Try to make your reflection moment a positive experience instead of beating yourself up over things you haven't done. The whole idea of did I accomplish enough is really about making yourself feel like potentially you're less than. And this is not where we need to be in retirement. We've had a whole past life of that. In my view, reflection isn't about judgment, it's more about clarity. It's asking yourself, were there any surprises this year? Is there something that I really learned? Was there something that I just don't ever want to do again? Is there something that made me incredibly happy? Did I learn any new things? Did I pick up any new hobbies? I know for myself, I look back each month because I journal on a regular basis, so I can look back at my months and see what it is that really was amazing during those months and maybe things that I might want to change. And I also am reminded of the things that I do that really give me a lot of joy. There's definitely things that I'm doing, both kind of on a mental plane, I guess, psychologically in my mind, and in a physical way that I want to carry on into the next year. One of the things that I have learned to do when I do these year-end look-backs is to really celebrate the tiny wins. Things like, did I declutter a drawer or a closet? That counts. Did I incorporate a little bit more walking into my week? That counts. Did I set boundaries where perhaps I have not set boundaries before and that had a positive outcome? That absolutely counts. And most importantly, have I learned to be kinder to myself? I tend to be so type A and I really beat myself up. I always feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm not being productive enough. I know that's a leftover of my corporate life, but it has proven extremely hard to get rid of that. So when some of my attempts to ameliorate that situation actually work out, I definitely feel like I have a win. The point here is that small, tiny wins are actually the building blocks of a great retired life. You do not need to reinvent yourself every single January. That is in the past. The idea here is to celebrate the small wins and move forward. Now, here's the part that nobody really likes, and that is reminding yourself and letting go of the things that didn't work. Did you get influenced on YouTube to try and be that person who wakes up at 5 a.m. and drinks a glass of water, journals diligently every single day at the same time, exercises every single day, does their 10,000 steps? There's all these rules out there that are being fed to us on social media. It really behooves ourselves to remind ourselves at our year-end review that we are retired. And sure, improvement is great. If something is actually going to benefit you, make you healthier, improve the quality of your life, it's definitely worth considering incorporating some of those things into your day-to-day. But when we set rules for ourselves that are onerous and that we hate, I'm not sure, but I would feel pretty miserable waking at 5 a.m. in the morning. I used to do that as part of my working life, and no thank you. I am very happy to loll around in bed, reading or doing whatever I want early in the morning, as opposed to having to shoot straight out of bed and get my day going. This is the beauty of retirement in that we can set our own schedules. We decide what works for us. When we look back at our year, we're actually reviewing all the things that were good and perhaps all the things that were negative. And then that allows us the ability to shed some of the negatives out of our life. What I like about this year-end review is, for me, it's an actual time that I schedule in and I sit and I kind of do this little exercise because I do want to go into the new year fresh. I am one of those people. The other thing to keep in mind here is that maybe you did incorporate something and you really liked it at first and then it kind of got onerous, and you know how things just get old. Well, you know what? You're retired and you are allowed to be flexible in these years that we have left on this wonderful earth. So don't make your life miserable when you're in your 60s or 70s, or actually at any time, doing things that truly don't bring you joy and, if anything, make you miserable. Again, this is a great opportunity to review what worked and what didn't work. Now, here is my favorite part, and that is starting to set some intentions. So not resolutions, but intentions for the new year. I find resolutions to be very legalistic and onerous in some cases, and often not kept past the first month. Setting intentions is a little bit more spacious. It's more about what my desires and my wishes are in the coming year. And I do like to think about that in that last few days of December. Of course, there's all these practical things that I think about, like finances and losing weight and so on. But there's also what I call some of these little esoteric type intentions that I want to think about, like Do I need more lightness in my life? Do I need more simplicity? Do I need a little bit more leeway in how I carry out my day to day? Do I maybe need some more connection with others? Do I need more rest? Or do I want to motivate myself a little bit more with my business? And do I want to learn more about editing and running a business? So there's all these opportunities that are available to us in the new year, and everybody's different. Everybody has new opportunities. For some of you, it could be learning a new craft or getting better at what you're already doing. It's different for everybody. The idea is that you're taking this little bit of time in these last few days to really consider all of these things. You don't need to set rules or resolutions or even set some of these intentions in stone. The idea is to just think about it. Some of the things that I think about is, do I maybe want to refresh a corner of my home instead of redecorating my whole house or having that feeling that nothing looks right? I think about maybe rejigging one tiny little corner at some point in the year to come. I also consider maybe increasing my knowledge in certain hobbies, like I mentioned when I talked about Craftsy, and that's maybe improving my knitting, becoming more proficient at certain techniques that I haven't done before. I already love knitting, and so it's not a hardship to make myself better at it, to allow myself to develop some skill sets. The other thing I think about is maybe exercise. I already exercise, I already walk, I already do some dumbbell work, but you know, like some of the weight training stuff is not my favorite. So is there a way where I can make that more enjoyable? Maybe I do need to get my butt to the gym once a week just to actually have some meaningful weights that I can use and equipment, and also just to see other people. So those are the kinds of things I think about. I don't sit and try to solve the world's problems or make myself a different person. It's really about little steps that will hopefully improve my view, my own personal view of myself. In my view, one of the most empowering truths that I have discovered in retirement is that I am not running out of time. If anything, I am running out of the reasons as to why I shouldn't live the life I really want to live and be the person I really want to be. New beginnings are not just for 20-year-olds. They are for anyone who is basically brave enough to say, I don't want to stop growing. At this age, we see life differently. We know what matters. We can cut through the noise. And we can discard the things that are very superficial. We know that small changes can shift everything. And so I would suggest that you think of the year as not a final countdown, but instead the doorway to something new and something different, and the opportunity to learn new things and to adopt some new, small, tiny little changes that will make your small retired life so meaningful and so wonderful. So as we step into the new year, allow yourself to be gentle with yourself, to be curious, and to be hopeful, to keep the things that were positive for you from this past year, and to release those things that felt negative and disempowered you. This is not a self-improvement process, but it's really about understanding what worked and what didn't work, and moving forward with those things that make you feel better about life and better about yourself. I want to thank all of those people that have been here supporting my channel and watching my videos, and especially those of you who have been here since the beginning. I receive so many lovely comments and messages, and it really makes me so happy. One of the most meaningful and most beautiful things that I think I've done is to start this channel. It has opened up such a big community of wonderful people. Thank you so much for supporting my little endeavor. This is my last video of the year, and I want to wish you all a very happy New Year's Eve coming up, and many blessings and many happy moments in 2026. And I will see you all on the other side, and I will be back here next week at my regular time. Happy New Year to everyone. Bye.